So hello and welcome to another video. I'm just going to be going over some tips with you on how I balance my studying and my training. So now this is just for me personally, but I found that these tips and tricks really work, and I encourage you guys to try out these tips and see what works for you. Just experiment, implement things slowly, and with time you'll be able to make a new habit. When your days look like this, it's hard not to feel demotivated, stressed all the time. But in this video, I'm going to give you some tips on how I personally manage my time, and I'm able to go to class, maintain a 4.0 GPA, train, cook all of my meals, run 2 clubs, work a part-time job on campus, dedicate about 3 hours to studying every day, and have time to work on additional classes outside of school or study my languages. So I hope that through this video you'll be able to take some of my own organizational tips and apply them to your own life. Okay, so the first tip that I have for you guys is to make a weekly agenda. And personally, I use mine in Notion. Notion is just a great platform for creating pages. So for instance, I can, create page, and then I can put another page inside of it and keep creating subpages. So yeah, I really enjoy using Notion just because it helps me organize things, but you don't have to. You can use any platform that you want. I use one page only for my weekly agenda, so nothing fancy. So basically what I'll do is first put in all of my classes. So you can see here I have the heading for my class, the date that the class will be meeting, and then all of the work that I have due for that day. And I actually did this, so I can cross that out. Every Friday I will change the work for the class, obviously, because it's a new week. So I will just update this every Friday. And this is my first week of school, so I don't have anything for the first class here. This guy didn't give me anything yet. And so for this class, I have these readings to do, and then I put in like some things that I should focus on. Yeah, but if you work, then I would suggest doing this for your projects. So putting in a header, whatever specific project you have due, and then putting in each little task that you have to do within that project, and that will allow you to just make a plan for what you have to get done. And then you can further break that into what you want to get done each day. And then you can just create a date and put all the tasks under that date that you want to get done for the day. But it'll be good to just lay out the goals and everything that you need to get done for that project before you actually dedicate each task to a day. So after I break my assignments up for that week into my classes, I then have a YouTube, Medium, and Instagram section, and this is everything that I have to do for YouTube, Medium, and Instagram. So for instance, I did Monday, and then I film the video and create a thumbnail on Monday. And then Tuesday I'll post to Instagram, and then you can just see throughout the week, these are all the things that I do. I also have a job on campus part-time. I'm a sustainability intern, and so I put that underneath. And again, school just started, so I don't really have anything yet. And then I also run 2 clubs, and I put that underneath. And I actually have to fill this out because I do have some things to do. And then I have other tasks that I have to do, and I'm just going to blur some of them out because some of them are actually classified. Sounds pretty snazzy when I say it that way, but yeah, some of them are classified, so I can't actually say what they are. And then I put my meetings as well for any clubs that I might do. This is basically how I break up my week. And then once I have the weekly agenda written, then I can go and write out my daily tasks in a daily planner. And I'm going to show you that right now. Based on the weekly plan that I make, I choose about 3 academic tasks to get done each day. I also have about 1 to 2 tasks to do for social media platforms each day. Depending on my workload, usually if it's a rest day, I add an additional tasks I have to do. I basically just self-regulate. So if there's a day where I have more free time, I'll assign myself more tasks. And if it's a day where I have like 3 classes and a workout, I'll assign myself less tasks. As long as I get everything done within the week, then it doesn't necessarily matter per se how much I do in a given day, but I try to aim for about 3 academic tasks a day. Writing in a planner helps me to prioritize what it is that I need to do in order to achieve my weekly goals. It's best to write this in a place where you can visually see it to hold yourself accountable. You can also do this on an app like the Reminder app, but I prefer to have it in a place where I can visually see it and hold myself accountable rather than on my phone where I'm more likely to ignore it. And on a similar note, I always plan out my actual workout the day before. I have a notebook where I write out my exercises, sets, and reps, and I fill it out before I go to bed the night prior to working out. So this way I don't have any friction in the way of executing my workout because it's already written down and planned, and all I have to do is actually just execute it. Also, I create a workout calendar each month. So my weekly and daily planners are primarily for my academics and other responsibilities, but my workouts are planned an entire month in advance. I print out each month's calendar and write out my workout split. Then I hang it up next to my desk where I can see it. And each day I check off the workout that I did. Again, this is really important to put it in a place where you visually see it instead of just leaving it on your phone and ignoring it. The times when I tried to start my fitness journey and didn't succeed was when I just wrote it out in my notes app. So visually having it in a calendar next to my desk has been super helpful for me, and I've done this ever since the beginning of my fitness journey, and I have never missed a workout. An important tip if you do this is to plan in pencil because things can always pop up like bad weather or sickness, so rearranging is sometimes necessary. So once I create a daily plan, I outline my day the night before in my calendar, and I'm just going to walk you through how I typically set up my Google Calendar. So the first thing I do is schedule in my classes, because these are commitments that I actually have to attend, so I will put those in first. Additionally, if I have any appointments, I will put that in as well. The great thing about Google Calendar is you can make events reoccurring, so you don't have to worry about adding them in every single time, and you can even customize it so you can do like weekly on Tuesday and Thursday. And this is super helpful because I usually don't have to do too much the night before because it's already pre-programmed into my calendar. And then once I schedule in my classes, I'll usually try to figure out my meal times. So the only thing that really might change is lunch by like an hour or so. So I always allocate time for my meals as well. And then after that, I find a block of time to dedicate to training. So I usually try to look for at least 2 hours of time to train just because I like to make sure that I definitely have enough time. And the gym is about 10 minutes away from my dorm, so I have to walk there and walk back. So yeah, I usually even try to look for like 2.5 to 3 hours, preferably when I have no more classes in the day. But this will obviously depend on you, how long your workouts typically take, how far of a drive or a walk the gym is for you. But try to find a chunk of time that you know will be enough. And then again, I usually make this a reoccurring event for the specific day. And then if it's a rest day, I will just delete it from my calendar. And then finally, once I have my training time, my meal times, and my classes scheduled, I will schedule time for work. And I just block out a big chunk of time for work. I don't assign any specific tasks for a specific time because I find that I either usually overestimate or underestimate the amount of time that I need for something. So just dedicating a big chunk of time to work has been helpful for me. And so I'll usually do like 2 1.5 hour sessions, but for this schedule, I don't have enough time for that. So I blocked out 2 hours of work time. And typically I will do about 3 hours, but since I'm doing 2 hours here, I would probably make up for it the next day with about like 3.5 to 4 hours of work time, depending on what I need to get done. So that's how I structure my day based on my priorities. I start with things I absolutely have to do that are non-negotiable, and then I schedule in necessary meals, and after that I schedule in training, And finally, any free time that I have in the day, I dedicate to work. Another tip that I have is to say no to whatever doesn't serve you. So this was really hard for me to learn, and honestly, I still struggle with this, but saying no to the things that don't directly align with the specific goals that you set in place for the month or the week, that's going to detract from your focus, and I really encourage you to say no to the things that aren't going to aid you in whatever goal it is that you want to achieve. So it's important to experiment and try different things, but at the same time, there's a limit to how much you can try, and you only have so many hours in a day. So I really encourage you to dedicate those hours to whatever it is you specifically want to achieve out of that week or month or day. Learning to say no to things is essential if you want to be successful in something. So for example, at the beginning of the semester, I always start out with a bunch of clubs on my list. I want to do the sailing club, and I want to do the equestrian club, and I want to help at the old age home, and I want to do Habitat for Humanity, and I want to do all these fundraisers, and like, that's great, but at the same time, I know that like my GPA is one of the most important things to me, so that is something like I always prioritize my classes first, and if a club is getting in the way of my classwork, then I will say no to that club. If I have more classwork that I need to complete that I haven't finished, then I won't go to a club meeting. And ultimately I end up narrowing my clubs down to basically the ones that I end up running, just because I really don't have time to dedicate to like other activities on campus if I'm so focused on the clubs that I run and on my schoolwork and on my training. So you saw like from the Google Calendar how I prioritize things, so my classes, then my training, and then like additional work time. So that for me is basically how I approach saying no to things. If it's something that will aid me in my classwork, then I will usually go. Like if it's an event for a class or an event in the geography department, which is my major, then I'll go. But if not, if it's something like unrelated, then I'll usually just skip it, especially if like I still have work to do for my classes. So classwork always comes first, and then training, and then anything else. So realizing like what's important to you and prioritizing those things and putting them before everything else is really going to help you in getting the things done that you actually want to get done. We all have those 24 hours, and it's our choice whether we want to spend those hours doing something that'll work towards our goals or doing something that won't necessarily serve us in the long run. And it's not like I'm saying don't have free time, because free time can serve us in the long run by allowing us to take a break, recharge, and think about things in the background. But whether we want to mindlessly spend time scrolling through social media or if we want to do something productive with our time is all up to us. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to you and you alone. There's no such excuse as having no time. If you want to get something done, then you will actually make the time to do it. If it's something that's important to you, you will find the time to do it, hopefully using the tips that I outlined. And I want to show you that even if it seems like you have this overwhelming amount of things to do, like you can actually prioritize the things that you want to get done and still have time for some other things as well. So I hope that you've gathered some inspiration from this video, and that I've shown you that you can do multiple things at the same time. But just making sure that you prioritize what's important to you is very important. So if you want to do something, find the time, make the time, and I hope these tips have helped you. Please leave any questions below if you want to hear anything else specifically that I haven't covered, any suggestions on things you want to see. Please subscribe and like this video for more content like this. I will see you in the next video.